Hi guys, so I guess I'll just dive into these 5 questions. So the first one would be, how has my background influenced how I read the New Testament? And I think that's pretty cool to think about because, yeah, we all do come from different backgrounds, obviously, that are gonna kind of shape the lens through which we interpret the New Testament. And for me, growing up in a Reformed church, I am going to have, like, a little bit more of a Calvinist theology, which will kind of paint how I read and how I tend to initially interpret the New Testament. And then the second question would be, what themes, that'd be symbols or books, do I appreciate the most? And I think for me, like, stories really impact me and they really move me, and so being able to read the Gospels and learn more about how Jesus interacted with his not only his disciples but then the crowds, and how he loved them and how he taught them and how just the different ways that he interacted with them is really cool, and it's really powerful for me. So I think it's definitely the Gospels and stuff like that that really hit home for me most of the time. And then the third question would be, what aspects, that'd be books or topics, do I tend to look over? And for me, like, Revelation is really confusing sometimes, not gonna lie. It was really, really cool to look into end times prophecy in our Old Testament class earlier last term, but just, I think it's a personal, like a spiritual goal, I guess, for me to be able to dive a little bit deeper into Revelation and understand that better than I do at this moment in time, I guess. And then the fourth question would be, what is the gospel in 2 or so sentences? And the gospel definitely is that I guess it's the belief that Jesus died and lived a perfect life for us, but even though he lived a perfect life, he died. And I think most importantly, the gospel is the belief that Jesus was raised from the dead, and Paul says in 1 Corinthians that if Christ didn't die, we are men most to be pitied. So I think that is really the core of the gospel. And that was probably more than 2 sentences, but we can try again for the last question. What is the kingdom? So the kingdom, there are actually 2 different kingdoms. The first one would be the earthly kingdom, and that is the world around us right now, which is falling apart, and which is it's broken because it is the kingdom of Satan, and it is not going to last, because the heavenly kingdom is the one that is eternal, and that is the kingdom of God, and that is where Christians will go when they die. So yeah, those are my answers to the 5 questions. So thanks for listening.